How you doing, man? Good to see you too. Thank you for having me on. Yeah, sweet. I'm Biggysweats. I am a full-time Twitch content creator. I now dabble in YouTube a little bit. I stream World of Warcraft as my main game, but try to keep a lot of hype, energy, and smiles and positivity throughout everything that I do on there. And I guess that I guess that's it all summed up in one. But yeah, that's me. Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Oh no. Oh no. Thank you so much, my love. You're incredible. Shoot. I'm gonna take hold on. I have your stuff. Let me just take my intro again and then I will repeat that.
Yeah, no
Um
worries.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 16th episode of the Pure Joy podcast. This is my guest, Biggysweats, and we are very excited to have him here today. Why don't you introduce yourself a little bit to us here on the podcast and tell us who we're talking to today? And you've already done that, so that's great. Uh, who is this? Go away, ban you. No one's looking for love here. Whatever. Um, Sweet. So that's out of the way. Yes, and then I'll also repeat this that I noticed that I asked you on here because of a lot of that positivity, right? I find that you
Mhm.
are very positive in your streams, in a lot of the things you say to people, the content that you create. When you're going through hard times, I notice that you find a way to look at it in a positive light, in a way that it can benefit you, even though you're struggling at this moment. And I find that to be
Mhm.
very inspirational. So yeah, I appreciate you making the time to come out here today. Typically, we start with a little question, and that is something that you found joy in today. But seeing as this is the very last episode of our year, this will come out. It'll coming out on Christmas Day, yay! But it is, it's a time to, I find, wrap up our experiences of the year. So a little bit broader than our normal question: where have you
Mhm.
found joy this year outside of our main topic?
Um, Joy this year. I think it's just come from, I guess, being able to experience life a little bit more. Obviously, last year when I started content creation as a thing, we were locked down, we were stuck inside, all of that was going on, and obviously this year, from almost the very start, I've been able to actually travel. Like I've never really traveled before either, so actually travel, meet people, brand new people, and I think experience a side of content creation that I didn't really know existed until like this year. And I guess it ties into the main topic, but yeah, just being able to actually go out there and meet everyone that's to do with everything we have going on constantly, and actually travel, like going to Amsterdam, going to Manchester and around England and stuff like that. Just yeah, I think actually getting out there and just experiencing life a little bit more, since, everything was so shut down and locked down last
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, that's
But yeah,
that's
it's
like
been
going out and
absolute
experiencing
pleasure.
life. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And being able to again. We talked about that a little bit before we started here on the episode, and that was that it's been nice in this back half of this year feeling comfortable going out to experience birthdays again at like a restaurant
Yes.
and just like having the experience again. I kind of feel like I took it for granted a little bit before all that, and now I'm
Yeah,
like
yeah,
looking for the times in which I can go out responsibly and enjoy a meal. And
yeah. I feel you on that for sure.
so yeah, yeah, just being able to experience life is a little bit more rosy this year. I think that honestly, that might be my same one. I like the joy that that brings.
Mm,
Let's throw a little bit of diversity into it. I do, of course, enjoy being able to go out. But I've also found that this year there's been a good focus. There's been some absolute flops, but there's been a really good focus on the audience of video games. Like video games coming out have been much more responsive and kind of reliant on
mm.
their feedback than they have
Yeah,
been
yeah,
in previous years. There's some obvious exceptions to that rule this year and leading up, but I just find that like they're like listening. It seems they don't hit
yeah,
everything, but they're listening, and that
yeah.
I feel like that is a good indicator of what is to come in gaming and that kind of entertainment field for the coming years and the coming generation of
Yeah,
games.
I completely agree with that. Well, I've read and seen like 100 times. Like, it must be that we're entering this new era of gaming where it's gonna just take off and everything's gonna be amazing. All the games coming out are gonna be top notch. But I do feel you on the feedback and the actual producers, developers of it all listening. Especially obviously with the game that I played, being with Warcraft, they've the last like two previous expansions have been kind of like flops for them, and they've not received like good news and all that. But obviously with Dragonflight coming out, the new one, it's been absolutely fantastic. But they're actually taking the time to take in feedback, comments, words of wisdom from the community, if you say, and actually push the game forward in that positive, well, a positive manner and a good manner. And I think with the MMO genre itself has been quite stale for I don't know a few years now, and I think more developers in the MMO genre are just taking into account everything that players want and say, rather than speeding ahead with their own course of action, thinking that they're the ones that are right.
Mm.
Which I mean is great news.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I totally agree. I've not even being a WoW player myself have seen the community response to Dragonflight coming out, and
Yeah.
how excited and joyous everyone is about seemingly having being listened to. I mean, there's definitely people that have played it. Is it the community at large though? Have they? It's not like out yet, right?
No, no,
It
it's
is. It
out,
is.
yeah. It's
Okay.
been out for only 3 weeks though. It's been
Oh,
out for,
okay.
so it's not been
Okay.
out too long. So it's still still introducing things as we go along.
Sure, sure.
Um,
But, I mean, that's a fantastic place to be. They're listening, and uh, I think overall feedback is just important. Being able to respond
yeah,
constructively to feedback, outside of video games, even just in our personal lives, is a
yeah,
very
yeah,
important
yeah.
skill. Um, Sweet. So this year behind us, what in life, overall, brings you pure joy?
Um, I think it is content creation as a whole. Coming from working just like jobs that I had no interest in or things that I never wanted to do. It's like I went to college for software development and I just didn't want to do that. I hated it. And then I went and studied personal training. And then as I finished that, my uncle was like, "Do you want to come and do like paint and decorating and all that stuff with me and stuff like that?" So that's what I went into eventually. So I went through all these things trying to figure out what I wanted to do and what I would enjoy. And again, didn't find any really real enjoyment in that. It
Yeah.
was just a job. And then I think, although obviously COVID was incredibly bad for the world, it I lost my job because of it, but it kind of allowed me to pursue this in a way that I never really looked at it before.
Mhm.
Because obviously, I think we've all dabbled in streaming or content creation over the years from when we were younger, because it's all something we've been interested in. But it gave me the time to sit there and figure out each step and everything I needed to
Mhm.
do to make this work and to really give it like all my hours in the day, every day until I hit where I wanted to be. And obviously, shoot forward 2 years, it feels so long ago now. I'm still in the same point. I still enjoy it every day. I still get up and I still live it. I still breathe
Yeah.
it, and I'm still consistently pushing myself to do more. But it is also opened up so many like avenues in life. Like, um, I would used to just like you know how you do when you go out every weekend, you have a drink, you see friends. That was it. That was all I was doing, working and doing that every weekend. And then since content creation, it's allowed me to um actually feel passionate about something and turn it into, I guess, real life and a career. And then that's allowed me to, and meeting Paige as well was a massive step in that direction for me, with I guess stabilizing myself as a person, as a human, as well as stabilizing everything else going on in my life. She played a massive factor into
Yeah.
that. And now it's, yeah, now I'm able to live life, enjoy it, enjoy what I do. I don't really think there's any part of it. Yes, things come up every now and then that are stressful and annoying, but I don't think really there's any part of it that I have any qualms with, I'm negative about. I just enjoy, living, I guess.
Yeah.
I think that's just
Yeah.
the best way to put it.
And beginning creating content those few years ago, it
Yep.
allowed for this path to be made for you.
Yep.
Um
Yep.
I resonate pretty heavily with trying a million things and kind of pouring yourself as much as you can without the passion into those
Yeah.
things.
Mm.
I have found passions along the way. I was passionate about theater for quite some time. That's what I went to school for. And
Yep.
near the end, I began to feel, I don't know if it was disillusioned or I just started to like lose the passion. I cleared out the degree and I got it. And that's fantastic and great. And it taught me a lot.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of those were stepping stones, building blocks that I was able to begin to build what I do now out of. I don't think
Yeah.
that
Of
I would
course.
be able to do the things that I do now if I didn't have that like eye behind me or the like, I don't know, the concept of how to do it or how to make a
Yeah.
character or
Yeah. I feel you.
perform on a camera. Uh,
Yeah.
and make myself heard in this kind of space. It all built up because to me, I had actually never tried streaming before COVID started because I felt daunted by it. I had only seen big
Yeah.
streamers that had, a million people in the chat, 100,000 people actually chatting in this chat, and like that's so daunting to be like, okay, that's what it
Yeah.
is. But there's so much of a journey to get there, and it's been intriguing to me, the little joys that I found along the way, the little like overcoming a small summit of learning a new piece of information that I needed to make this tech click, or to how
Yeah.
smooth was that video after I got a little edit in. Like it's so the building blocks along the way I found so much more joy in, and I feel so much more passionate about than I feel that I did in the past. Maybe when I was
Yeah.
mistaken for what I was feeling passionate about.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel you. I think it's because well, you're creating something on you. It's you. It's
Mhm,
you that's doing it. And I feel like whenever it's you that's personally going out of your way, like you're doing it, you're not doing it. You're not being forced to do it.
right.
You're choosing to do it. And so I think when you're choosing to do something, you can definitely feel way more passion behind whatever you're deciding to do. Um, rather than like being forced or feel like it's something you have to do.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about content creation in general.
Yeah.
You do create content. Let's talk to us a little about the joys that you find in the process of streaming on Twitch, creating the content for in post.
I think the best thing about it is it's still to this day, even 2 years later on, I still to this day, when I'm planning something or I have something going on, say I'm doing a costume, um, anything, even or something big's coming out or anything like that, I still to this day will get like, the butterflies in the stomach
Yeah,
as I sit there preparing for the stream or the day before. And I feel like I take as much as like that's probably anxiety and stuff like that about being in front of the camera and going live and worrisome. I still find joy and even in that little moment because I know that the reason I'm feeling nervous or the reason I'm feeling about that is because I care so much about everything else going on. And I think the joy in planning stuff and then coming on to the stream and seeing the chat just go like crazy, just like hype and like, oh, that's so cool or that's so funny or the reactions, right? It's reactions to what you're doing.
hmm
And I think just every little thing, everything about Twitch and streaming and just creating content, even now, like moving into YouTube and stuff, every little thing and every new thing I do is just brings a smile to my face every single day. Like, I enjoy every little step that it takes to do what we do as content creators.
What do you think
Um,
what do you think that is in that atmosphere that creates that joy for you? Is it for me, for example, that question feels a
mm,
little heady. For me, for example, I enjoy the times you're talking about when it's live. Like you feel this living thing that you have made in front of you, and at the moment in which the chat is flowing and people are responding, it is like a breathing. It's almost like a breathing being in front of you, and you can
yeah,
feel it like begin to die off when it's dying off, and you have to care for it a little bit more in this moment, and like focus not on the thing you're doing but on the
yeah,
thing you're creating and growing.
mm,
So yeah, that for me is like what keeps me coming back. Is like I find that it almost feels alive, this whole like live stream
yeah,
content creation flow.
yeah. It's like a fire, isn't it? You gotta like keep tending it a little bit to
Hmm.
keep the flames burning. But yeah, I would say that, yeah, I feel very similar level that is what keeps bringing me back, because I think if there was no interaction um beyond just like making a video, I don't know if I would enjoy it as much, because I feel like, yes, I go on and play WoW, I love the game, blah blah blah, but at the same time, the interaction with each individual in the chat is is what I look forward to whenever I'm about to hit the live, or they create the atmosphere. Like, I just provide music and something they want to watch, but they create the atmosphere, again, the reactions on how the stream flows and stuff like that. So I keep coming back because I just enjoy spending my time with everyone that comes through the stream.
Yeah, yeah. I used to think it was absolutely wild to me that when I would be in a stream similar to yours, there's like 200 people chatting, that the thing is flowing, and you're like, you person, here's your name. How was this event in your life?" And then you're like, "This person, oh shoot, it was this person's birthday last week. Everyone say happy birthday. This person streamed this the other day." Like, I used to be flabbergasted when I would see that. But what I've realized is that takes some incredible practice, and just learning these people. You know their names the more they show up. And now, like, I've definitely begun to develop those relationships. And every time that happens, I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, that's that feeling. We are actually friends. This is like we've made friends. We're an actual community, and it feels so
Yo.
good to begin to build that up, and it widened. I feel like my circle.
Yes.
Some of it feels, if I boil it down, maybe a little selfish in that I like want to keep making more friends. I want to keep this going because I love this feeling. Yeah, yeah. Um,
No, I completely agree. I completely agree. It's like, obviously there's people that come and go all the time, but then you have like, I'll have someone come in the chat from, say, literally 2 years ago when I first started, back when I was streaming Apex, to like 10 people, and be like, "Oh my God, you've grown so much, and it's nice to see you. It's been a long time." And even if they come in like once a year, I still remember that name. And it's still an absolute pleasure to speak to them. And it's just, it's crazy. It's like people come and go, and then obviously you have your regulars and stuff like that. But it's just a nice feeling when people turn up.
Mhm. Absolutely, absolutely. Talk to us a little bit about challenges. Like, what are some of the more challenging aspects that you face creating content?
I honestly think when it comes to streaming, it's the time. It's the amount of time to effort that you've got to put in consistently. It's not like, obviously, you go to work, you work your hours, you go home, and you forget about everything that's going on. It is every second of every single day. Well, for me anyway, that's what it's like for me, of thinking either what's next, what do I do now, how can I spend this time, am I spending it right? Even when it comes to like playing WoW, I'm like, am I doing enough in game to benefit my stream in the long run, or am I just taking it too lackluster and not doing enough? So time, and how much time do you have, and how to split that time up when it comes to Twitch, the game, YouTube, networking, Twitter, every avenue that you have to obviously advertise and build up. I never feel like there's enough time in the world to do what I want to do, to obviously put into content, to make videos, to edit the videos, to all of that. So yeah, time definitely will always be short. And it's like me, like right now, my sleep schedule is so out of whack. I sleep between like 5 and 7 in the morning, and then I'm up at like between like 3 and 4. So it's so out of line for someone that lives in the UK. Like at the moment, I don't really even see the sun because I'm just not awake. So yeah, it's just time is hard,
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
say.
and balancing all of that on top of life outside of that too, because like you have to spend
Yes.
time with those in your physical life too, as much as you're spending with the people here, meeting and developing these connections. You still have to like you're still
Yeah.
responsible for your connections outside of that. Be that,
Yep.
family, your partner, your house, you have to make sure it's still clean. Like that all leads to like a,
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
happy mental state when you're in this
Yeah.
space. Um, I find that the hardest times for me have when I've kind of dropped those responsibilities because I was like, "Ooh, I have a
Yes.
little bit more I have to do. I'm gonna keep working," and like,
Yeah.
maybe I should have taken a break and cooked dinner with everyone in the house and enjoyed that moment, and then done what I've done when everyone goes back to bed. I can sacrifice a little bit of my sleep schedule.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I think for me that was it as well. In the first, obviously, the 9 months when it was the journey towards partner. Let's put it that way. The craziness that happened. I think that was probably and even I look back now and I can say that the way I handled it and the way I did it was not the right way because I let myself get so absorbed into it that I was forgetting to do everything in real life. I
mhm,
wasn't eating. I lost weight. Um, there was so much stress going on in my head. It was just I allowed myself to get exhausted, but I was new to it, and I let myself off because of that because I was new to it and I was learning it, and it's hard to be stable and not worry when obviously this is your first time doing anything like that. Um, but yeah, if I was to go back and give myself advice, it would be just go with the flow with it. Obviously, push what you're doing and keep doing what you're doing, keep making content and doing like spend your time doing it. But don't forget to feed yourself. Don't forget to take care of yourself. Don't forget to take care of the people around you. All of the stuff like that. And it didn't take me until I would say the start of this year to um start thinking in that manner because even after I got partner, I was like, okay, weight lifted, we've got it. But then you have the partner slump where your numbers drop off because people
people are
don't feel like
supporting
they
you.
have to be in the stream
Yeah,
anymore. Yeah, exactly. And so you have the partner slump, and then I had to work on bringing that number back up. And now, obviously, I'm lucky enough to have the amount of people that I have in there now. But that even right after partner, it was all work, 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 work back to bring that up, and then I think you slowly realize that you're just more harming yourself
yeah,
than anything, because it takes the enjoyment out of the stream a little bit, when you feel like crap in real life, when you feel like not like as in like emotionally, but like your body feels run down because you're not getting enough sleep, you're not eating, you're not taking care of yourself, and um, I think realizing that's what I need to do just amplified how much I enjoy streaming and content creating when I figured out how to balance
yeah.
things a little bit better.
Definitely. Definitely one of the biggest challenges I would say of this is that it kind of before it becomes a passion, I feel like it starts off almost like an addiction.
Yes.
And you
Yes.
it's important to go through that journey because you need to learn some stuff about it. And when you fall into the like addiction before passion kind of path, you learn it quickly, but at the
Yeah.
sacrifice of several things.
Yes.
And
Yes, that's
that's
for sure.
that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
In as long as you are able to, take care of those relationships after that moment. I did the same thing myself. I would go to work. My partner worked in the mornings and I worked in the evenings. So that's all of our time together. Not the same
Yeah. Yeah.
schedules. So lucky if we have a day off together. And every single night I got off of work, I would stream for several hours. So
Yeah.
it just created this thing where for maybe almost a month at a time, we barely saw each other. on those lucky days, and we live together. We sleep in the same bed, but it just like
Yeah.
opposite schedules. And I, for us, that amount of time, looking back, realized that I was like sacrificing that to do what I was doing, and um, was very lucky that I am able to mend that damage. Not, it's not like damage, but
Yeah, yeah.
it's
I know what you
just,
mean. Yeah.
I have to now put in the time. There was like it's almost like a thought I had to make where I was like, I have to now I have another sacrifice to make. I have to start sacrificing this thing to balance it all. And then in the end it's
Yeah.
not a sacrifice. It's creating balance, and it felt good, and
Yeah.
I didn't feel negatively towards anything. I was just like, balance. I can
Yeah.
now think about it
Yeah.
but
Well,
not be
yeah.
consumed with it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all about that. It's weird how much creating content and the game that we're in relies so much on balancing between real life and your online life. It's strange, and the thing is though, you can say it over and over again in your head as you're doing it, and it never comes into clarity really how to balance it. It just sort of one day clicks,
Hmm.
and you're like, okay, that's how I deal with it. And yeah, I feel personally that I've bar the very odd sleep schedule, I feel like I have found some balance with everything going on.
Mhm, mhm. Definitely reaching a balance. I definitely have my days where there's like I even tell the people around me like, next few days is busy, busy, busy for me. I will be doing some
Yes.
editing, but I now do that so that I can spend other days not doing that, and
Yeah. Yeah.
create that balance. Fantastic. So yeah, when we began, you talked a little bit also. I think this kind of trails off into that balance thing.
Mm,
You find joy in what this has created for you in your life, not just doing it, but what it has like led to sort of
yeah.
a more what's the right word? The just a better balanced life as well. Talk to
Mm.
us a little bit about the joys there.
Um, I, I think you get so what I think for me it was I was so locked in at how I was spending my time every weekend or and you don't really know what's going on out there, what everyone else is doing, what the world really is like, I guess, about and what you can experience because you're so locked into, say, a friendship group or um a lifestyle that you choose to live. And I think meeting Paige was the first step in that, and then first step to breaking that monotonous every single week is the same thing. Page was the first step at breaking that like chain, and then moving on to streaming was another step. And it's like I have never ever like speaking in front of crowds. I've not never really massively open socially and stuff like that. So I would always stick with the people I know
Hmm.
and enjoy myself with the people I know. But streaming really opened that up. Like I think the first like mini convention I went to, met so many people from the stream. It was great. And I think it's just opened me up as a person to allow more people into my life and allow more people to, get to know me. And it's just made me a happier person in general, I would say. But yeah, like having the ability to go to these conventions, meet all these people, travel to Amsterdam, experience the country itself, um and had plans to like go to America, go to, all these places and like meet people from there and stuff. It's something that I never would have even dreamed of,
Yeah.
2 years ago, back when I was, just regular life, I suppose. And it's changed it in so many ways that I'm thankful for. Yes, there is people friends that I don't see as much anymore. I've definitely got friends that I still see like all the time, but I've got friends that I don't see anymore. And yes, I'm sad about that. But at the same time, some people aren't, I guess, equipped for such a change in lifestyle. They're not equipped to join you in yours when where they're so locked into theirs. So I will never hold anything against them. Like if we don't talk or if we don't see each other as much, as long as we have a message every now and then, I'm always happy about that. But yeah, I guess just content creation has just opened up my life in such a way that I never would have imagined it 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's provided a pathway to be able to experience those things. Even if it's in your
Mm.
own area, now you can get out and go do those things. It's not about when I can get to the bar this weekend to
Yes,
have a drink.
exactly.
It's like I have a day off. What can I do with it? And
Yep,
um
exactly that.
that's always a good feeling. It's now you're reaching a day off. Um it's not just here now and like, oh, I can rest. It's the not being so, I think, we probably put in more than a normal 8-hour day on a regular
Yeah,
basis. So we're still
I would
working
agree.
the same amount of time. It's just in the way that we do it. Working from home, I find always to be easier. I don't have to worry about transit to and
Yes.
from. Um, my own environment, like I said, incredible. And like you mentioned early on, doing the things that, like, doing it for me, creating a thing that I want to make, doing a thing that I want to do, and testing that out. It doesn't always go well, but that's okay. You like learn something from that. It could be the game you've chosen is wrong, the approach you've chosen is not the best one for this moment. It could be down to a title and a PNG sometimes. Um, like a great example, I had a video and I was like, little clip, 30 seconds long, here it goes. And it got two views. And I was like, this doesn't make sense. It was like I found a full odds shiny in Pokemon. And like in a minimum, like the internet loves shiny Pokemon. Like two
Yeah,
views does
of
not
course,
make
yeah.
sense. So I took it down, I just retitled it and put it right back up. And then the next morning it was at like 2,000 views. And I was like,
Yeah,
that's more what I expected for a base. Like it's just a shiny Pokemon. So
it
it's all
is.
about the minute things. And one of the most joys I've felt on this process is like learning everything.
Yeah.
Everything coming together when it finally clicks and is success, you feel like a sigh of relief. Like that's what I need to do. And it opens me up in life outside of that to try new methods, learn new things, and try new approaches to taking care of problems because I may not have all the information I think I have.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's one of the main things about, like, content creation in general. It's the research that you actually have to do.
Mhm.
Like, it's not just about trying and failing constantly. It's about looking and finding people that have succeeded and are willing to, like, spread the knowledge of it. It's like recent when I've been doing, I think, YouTube 2 months now, and it's when that clicked for me on how I'm gonna take this up and
Yeah.
get partnered with YouTube and stuff like that. When that clicked for me, it was like, oh my god, it's there in your face, but you never really think about it. And it was. I think I scrolled down. I was scrolling on TikTok, and one random video came up by some random person, and it explained not like anything like mind blown or anything like that, but it just explained a little bit about how YouTube works and how you should treat YouTube rather than it be just upload and expect. Treat it as a search engine. Treat it as what people are going to Google for. Because you type something on Google, it brings up suggestions of like the latest 3 YouTube videos or the highest viewed
Mhm.
YouTube videos in the last month. And it's like I started treating my YouTube channel like that rather than because I started off doing like reviews on games and they would get maybe like 100, 200 views. And then I was like, right, I'm restarting this. I'm going just full WoW. Did my first WoW video on how to play character,
People always
rogue,
want to
whatever.
learn.
Yeah, exactly. And that is searched. How heavily it's searched. And that first video got 9K views. Just that was it. And that started off. The second video I did was on a warlock that got 16K views. And it was just like a rolling thing from there. And then obviously Dragonfly dropped, uploaded the latest one because that's the thing with WoW. Every few months you can remake a guide and re-upload it because the game's changed so
Mhm.
much, even just from season 1 to season 2. So
Balances.
that's sort of my content gist is keep making stuff that people are gonna search. And the latest one got 28K views, and that's pushed me from 600 to 1,100 subs on YouTube. And now, obviously, last night I got the email last night. I'm now a YouTube partner, so that's absolutely fantastic. And just learning seeing that one TikTok video is what kicked me in the arse to start and push my YouTube channel the way it is going, and made me realize how to actually do it. And I don't know where I was going with the whole sentiment there, but I think just moments where you learn or trigger something in your head are absolutely awesome in this, game of content creation.
Yeah, I mean, in the game of, I feel like that's a good point for a lot of joys across the board that we've had here, is
Mm.
that there's a lot of the aspect of how you find your joy, I think, has tended to come from, one, you're passionate about this thing, you enjoy doing it, period.
Yep.
But that is a hobby. That could be a hobby. There is bits where you struggle with it and you overcome an obstacle. I find that's huge.
Yep.
If you're able to overcome an obstacle and still find joy in it, I feel you find more joy in it. When you're willing to do the research and look at your mistakes and not just say like, I fucked up, next time, but
Yep.
to look at that mistake and say, why, how was that, how did I go wrong, how could that have been better, next time I'll try for X, Y, and Z. If X is wrong, then I'll try Y, and if Y is wrong, then I'll try Z, and then if not, I'll take it all back to the drawing board and I'll try a different approach. um and that's definitely very relatable here in content creation, and just
Yep.
being open to like saying like, the things I'm doing aren't wrong, it's just the approach that I'm taking could be
Yes.
better.
Yeah.
And that's always important, to know that you could be better. It takes, this is my
Yeah.
favorite
Yeah.
fact, I did the math on it and I love it. It takes, so the phrase of 10,000 hours to mastery, right? That is 5 years of working a full-time job, no vacations, I think was my math. So 40 hours a week, 5 days a
Mhm.
week,
Mhm.
5 straight years. Is that rough for our context of what 10,000 hours of mastery
Yeah.
is?
Yeah.
Doing all the math, 2 years into content creation, I'm at maybe 2,000 hours of, let's add another 1,000 for editing and going over my own content, and about half the shit.
Mhm.
I'm at 3,000 of 10,000. I was like getting a little stressed out about halfway through this year, like, wow, I feel like I'm not getting anywhere. I feel like I'm not doing anything. And then I did all that math and I thought, well, I'm only 2,000. I'm a fifth of the way there to what could be considered a mastery level. I'm in the
Yeah.
most beginning stages of learning how to make this the best thing it can be. And that relaxed me so much. And that is good advice
Yeah.
for anyone. That doesn't go for
Yeah.
content
It
creation.
is.
That's art. That's singing, creating music, like anything you do. It My favorite approach is the 10,000 hours to mastery. So like, a
Yeah.
long
I
time of a
like that.
lot of work and a lot of learning and going to the drawing board and retaking it, to find out what about it brings you the most joy too.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
take some time to discover.
I think it's where a lot of people can go wrong as well in sort of the content creation space, is because obviously you can put a lot of effort, you can put a lot of time
Yeah,
into something. Not necessarily effort, but you can put a lot of time into something
definitely.
and expect results. But what makes the difference is is the learning, is the effort. Just putting time into something is not going to equal anything. The effort you make to learn, the effort you make to um be unique with your own stuff, or just recreate trends and or whatever it is, the effort is required. It's like it's the saying, you can't go live on you don't grow off Twitch by going live. It's just that's just how it is. It's everything else that goes on around Twitch in that space of like social media and whatnot. And a lot of people, it takes them a long time to realize that it's way more about the time you spend off and the time you spend online on Twitch. And again, it's never about just hitting the live button. It's about the effort and conscious effort you make to be unique, do something different, make the content, put yourself out there, and all stuff like that, rather than hey, I'm live, come and check me
Yeah,
out,
it's
like sort
about,
of thing.
you got to make those connections. I
Mm.
always feel like networking is like a hot button topic for some reason in the
It
Twitch
is.
sphere,
It
but I
is.
I think it's just people have made it weird and heavy, but it isn't. Like, it is important to, if you want to grow as a content creator, it's important to let other people know that your name exists full stop.
Yeah. Yeah,
Beyond
of
that, to
course.
like keep them coming back, you have to learn about them. That's why like people, that's why like Raven continues to come back to my streams, because I every time Raven comes back, I'm updated about Raven's job and I'm able to say like, "Oh, congrats on becoming full time. Like that's incredible. I know this about you. I don't need you to remind me that you're going through this thing or this problem. You're a friend of
Yeah.
mine.
Yeah,
We've
of course.
become friends." And that's like why we're always hanging out. It's not just like I am trying to support only those close to me, but it's like I want to hang out with my friends, you know? I want to meet new
Yeah.
friends too.
It's about creating relationships. On top of everything, relationships are important. You can't just be the other side of the screen and not have any relationship with anyone that comes in your chat or anyone you've ever been to's stream. What would be there'd be no point in anything.
Right.
It's not enjoyment. It's just you sat there monotone playing your game. I mean, obviously there's people that find fun in that, but I would say like if you would have to create relationships. It's like some of my closest friends that are now people I've met because of shit randomly streaming,
Mhm.
randomly coming across their channels, or randomly striking up conversation. And I'm talking about not just online, I'm talking about IRL friends as well. They are now some of my closest friends that I talk to on a daily basis and whatnot. And that wouldn't have come from anything but networking and meeting people with the intention of a relationship, not an intention of a transactional back and forth, but an intentional relationship that you know, you make a bond, you prosper, and you go from there. And take Kraken, for instance, who's in the chat. Now one of my closest friends that I've made during this whole time.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I think that I mean, yeah, it's in order to keep it going, it also like when we talk about the sometimes like you said in the beginning, I feel like that the flow of sometimes I can still become a little bit stressed out and a little bit tired of doing
Mm,
it, that maybe just means today I need a break. I'm not tired
yeah.
overall, but like today there like today I feel great. I woke up and I was like I drank my coffee on my couch, I enjoyed some sunlight, and I like stretched a little bit, and I came downstairs and I like slowly did everything and I felt really good and flowy. And I generally do morning style streams. The other day I
Hmm.
woke up and I was so exhausted. Coffee in hand, coffee finished. I started my stream and I was like, "Ugh, let's do this, guys. We're playing Pokemon." And the whole stream I felt like drained. And half of
Yeah.
that is because I spend all day, all night doing it sometimes, and half of it is because life outside is also takes some energy. It takes some spoons, to
Yeah.
use the spoon metaphor.
Of course. Of
And
course.
so this was going somewhere. The connections, the community, the points in that stream, speaking of being like totally exhausted, was like the little sparkles of like I'm feeling into it is when my close friends and community came in and they were like, "Hey, how
Yeah.
was your day?" And I'm automatically like, "Oh, I have a friend here. I feel supported. All right.
Yeah.
Good. I'm tired today, y'all. Like, let's be honest, I'm tired." And then I can live in that, and that's okay because like they support me. And that may not have been the best time to continue to be live and to continue trying to make it, but the point there was the joy of the community, the things that they help me when I'm feeling down. And
Yeah.
they couldn't do that if I like didn't have these relationships with them. Like a random viewer's coming in and saying, "Hello, nice to meet you," doesn't bring the same, of course I'm like, "Ooh,
No.
hey, new
No.
viewer. Yay, this is great." But it doesn't bring the same joy as a friend being like, "How are you doing today? You look tired." I'm like, "You know what? I am tired. I feel that you care for me."
Yeah, I completely feel you on that. It is obviously it's course nice having new viewers, but I think when you're able to take a relationship beyond just hey, how you doing
Mhm.
in a chat to when they feel comfortable as well to go, oh, hey, how you doing? You look tired today. You sure you're okay? Blah, blah. Like they it's a bit more um what's the word? It's a bit deeper. It goes a bit
Yeah.
deeper than just, someone just coming and saying, "Hey, hi, how are you?" And then that's the brunt of the conversation done. But when someone cares but you only develop that far by consistent interaction with people, whether that's going to their streams, whether that's talking offline or Discord, whatever that is, that relationship only becomes deeper by the effort again that you put in with each other. And that wouldn't come from, either you randomly stumbling across the stream or they randomly stumbled across yours. You both chose to make the conscious effort to now support each other and deepen a relationship to where you to the point where you're friends, and now you feel comfortable and more at one with yourself live because they've come to the stream.
Mhm.
Like, sorry about my dog. I don't know if
No,
that
that's okay.
bark went off.
That's okay.
Um, but yeah, now you feel so comfortable to the point where they've where your relationship with them has deepened to that point. But yeah, that's why I will never have a bad image of networking, because I know from personal hand that my best friends, or some of them, and the community as a whole, and the reason I know so much about my community and the people in it is because of they strolled into the stream one day, they chose to stick around, and now our relationship is deepened just by like them constantly coming back and forth. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
They came in on their own account. You spent the time and energy to create a connection, and they were willing to spend the time and energy in, you know, conjunction with that
Yep,
to really develop it. And then from there it's just keeping
exactly.
up and maintaining a relationship. Um so I guess a big part of maybe both of our joys in this creating content is maybe one of the cornier sides of that, and that is the community. I would, cuz I only say
Yes.
corny because everyone, even if they're lying, says my favorite part of creating content is the community I've found along the
Yeah,
way. But
yeah,
truly, like, boiling it down, like, I don't think I would have been able to find as much continuous joy from this if it wasn't for the most corny answer, the friends I made along the way. Um,
yeah, yeah.
it's the real
No, I
treasure
fully
in the end. Like, yes, there are some end goals and some hopes and desires to actually make a living off of this, like you've, you know, begun to do, and be able to
hmm
support yourself, travel, uh feed yourself, house yourself just off of this energy that you put in. But in the end, I feel like a lot of like bigger content creators say like don't even really talk about the money portion. While we might see a lot of those videos because those are directly clipped and like, hey, check out this, but like they
Yeah.
focus more on their relationships with one another and with their community as a whole, I feel. Um
Mm.
big
I think the money side of things should always be. It should never be the main goal because it is so difficult. Like it's so difficult. I made a Twitter post about it the other day. Just being full time doesn't mean you're stable in any way whatsoever. It just means you'll just constantly have up and downs, and it should never be at the start. Never be any sort of main goal for the reason you want to stream, because that's not gonna come until much later and through a lot of hard work, more work than probably a full-time job would require you to
I
do
feel so.
to get to this standpoint. Um, I just I feel incredibly lucky that I'm even able to do it full time.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, it's a challenge. It's a challenge.
mm,
And along this journey, there were momentary sacrifices made. And being willing to do that is why you're able to make it to this point and to keep going
yep.
because you've developed those relationships out. You have the support network you need. That makes the work that you continue to do easier to do. In the
Mhm.
beginning, I feel like it, for me at least, it was so hard because I just like I didn't have the support network. Those around me didn't know enough about it to be able to support me properly, and that
Yeah,
required
yeah,
and it didn't require, but like it led to me attempting to impart some of it, if that way they could just even just support me emotionally, or
yeah, yeah,
ask how the stream went in a way that opens the conversation up to me. It just it's a journey for everyone, and now that we have those support networks in place, it has become a lot easier to continue to do the things.
yeah, definitely.
Absolutely, but that takes time. For anyone
It
listening, it
does.
takes time and effort and energy, and sometimes you'll be extra tired because you had to, or because you decided to, wanted to spend an extra couple hours watching another friend do their thing and developing that connection out. But the
Mm,
tiredness is worth it because making a friend is always
yeah,
worth it. A new face to brighten your
100%.
day is stellar. What's your biggest piece of advice for someone interested in beginning streaming, beginning creating content? Say we're talking to someone who's never done it and like me before COVID has no experience with it.
I would say do not rush into anything. Do not rush into just going live. Do not spend all your time live. Do not spend all your time. Um, I get. I'm trying to word it in
Yeah.
one sort of like nice
I have
way.
all sorts of editing power on this, so, feel free to take your time.
um, take your time to learn each individual space. Take your time to get to know people in the same game as you. Whether you've never spoke to them before, take the time. Um, be yourself, massively be yourself when you're on stream or making content because people relate to it. Um, and just enjoy the process of learning because it is all learning, all of it.
Mhm. It's
Um,
it's entirely learning, and
yeah,
like you said, some of those challenges you can't overcome until the right piece of advice hits you. And it's not even like that piece
exactly.
of advice on its own is an okay piece of advice. But on top of digging at it, throwing it on the cork board with the yarn and getting all of the pieces of information together, that's the one that drew all the yarn together. Um
Mm,
and those will come. It's probably not the same video for everyone, right? It's
yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's
yeah, of
not the
course,
same
yeah,
piece of advice or the same piece of information, but keep digging. You'll find it.
yep,
Someone out there has the right opinion to tell you, the right approach.
yes, yeah. I think that is what there's no guaranteed, and I think that's what makes it so daunting for people. There's no guaranteed path to
Mm-mm.
take to get to where you want to be. It is literally um finding the right game, maybe finding your personality, finding your space, finding the right content, finding the right TikTok, finding the right Twitter post, finding it's searching all the different avenues and roads that come up until one of them takes you straight down the highway and you hit your goal. That's all it is. It's finding the right one until it clicks and you're on your way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
time, effort, learning, it's all part of it. And you're gonna go. It's gonna be a lot of effort
Mm-hmm.
to get into it.
Mm-hmm. My One of my big suggestions, because of the mistakes I've made along the way, is learn like it's important as a content creator, and even just a streamer on Twitch, like we've been talking about, to develop your community across not just like the who in your stream, but like be on Twitter having conversations, be on Facebook having conversations, posting personal videos on TikTok. One of the best piece of advices I actually got from you early on was you checked out my TikTok page and you said, it's good, the clips are good, but what I want from this is more like you content. Like I'm not getting anything different from this than I am from watching your streams, except they're clipped, and that's good. But you want personality, and
Yeah,
that like what I did when I started on Twitch, and then I was like, okay, I've got Twitch down, and instead of using that as a stepping stone, I said, now I need to do YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and Twitter all at the same time. And then I was daunted for months, and I was like putting out kind of more poor content across a board, and it just like, yeah, it
and you fall into a pattern of like you feel like you have to rush all your stuff. People always say post just post short form content everywhere. Make content that you can post on every site. But what people don't understand is about that is that people watching. So you take a Twitch clip,
Mhm,
right, of someone's channel, anyone's channel, and you go and upload that on YouTube. You can upload it on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram Reels, wherever you upload it. Who's searching for that content? Who's there to watch it? You're waiting on an algorithm to push your content out
mhm,
because you've got no one there either searching for it or already there to watch it. So you're just waiting. You're waiting. However, if you spend your time making like searchable stuff or like with TikTok, people love it when either you dance or you recreate trends or you do something. But when it's to do with you, when they can feel you within a clip or
mhm.
with you within a TikTok or a video, the connection is more there, whether it's funny, whether it's hype, whether it's dancey. It's different to just posting something that happened during your live stream because you've gone out and made the effort, you've gone out and produced content. You're not just clip something and put it up there. And I think people you can't just expect everything on Twitch to work for everything else.
Correct.
And yeah, and that's what I always say, time and effort, take your time with each thing. Like for me, it was Twitch and Twitter. That's what came up together. That's how I did it. And obviously being a World of Warcraft player for 16 years actually
You
helps,
knew
of
it. Yeah,
course.
you
But
knew the game.
yeah. But yeah, they came up together, and then I moved on to TikTok a little bit. I'm still a bit thingy on TikTok. I'm not massively like know how to grow on that, but went from there and I went straight onto YouTube, and now the YouTube is being successful as well. It's like I'm taking the time for each one.
Mhm.
Like my Twitter, I feel like I'm successful with that. The Twitch, I feel like I want more with Twitch, but I feel like I'm in a good point right now. So, and then YouTube is my main concentration now. Growing that YouTube up to maybe match the same point as my Twitch, and then I've got three avenues right there, all at the same point, all rising up together.
Mm.
Done. Them three succeeded. Then maybe I can move on to TikTok and try my best to bring that one up as well. It's never don't put pressure on yourself. Don't overly put pressure on
Mhm.
yourself. I see loads of people going, I want to make partner this year. I want to do this. I want to do that this year. Yes, it's good to have the big goals, but you also have to set realistic expectations for yourself. And going, if I don't get partner this year, that's it. That pressure in your own mind to reach such a hard, and it is hard, less than 1%, maybe less than 0.1%, don't know how much it is, that are partnered on Twitch. Having that mental pressure on yourself, all that's going to do is make you stress about numbers, make you stress about your
Yep.
time, just probably make you not sleep. It's going to affect all of that. So set realistic goals and expectations for yourself as you move slowly through each of these avenues of content. I think, well,
Yeah.
I guess that would be a good way to sum up stuff.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of small milestones. Be
Yes,
that
me too.
like,
Yeah.
some people will say like my next follower goal is 500 above what I have. Then you have so
Mm.
long before you feel joy from that milestone that you've set up in your place. Like maybe keep in the back of your mind that like the next point I want to reach is the next 500 mark, but go
Yeah.
it up by
Yeah.
100 so that you can reach a small milestone, feel empowered, and push into the next one and push into the next one.
Exactly. Exactly.
It doesn't always have to be a follower number either. I just, that stretches across. Like set smaller milestones for yourself in the beginning so you can feel what like the succession of doing it. If you just
Yeah.
set
Yeah.
massive goals, then you feel less points of joy for reaching those goals.
Yeah.
You'll feel the joy when you make
But
partner, but if your only goal is to make partner, you won't feel that joy for
yeah.
quite some time.
No. No. Exactly. And I think that's why the partner thing. I think it's better to set. Okay, reach 10 average views, then 20, then 30, then 40, rather than go from I'd say 10 to 75
Mhm.
in one big step. Set little ones like okay, because once you go from 10 to 20, when you start having 20, you're like okay, that's a big increase. That's amazing. I feel good about that. Same with the 30, and then imagine when you get to 50, and then you're like, oh my god, I'm closing in on that main goal, but I've reached all these other goals as well that are just awesome for me. And them hitting them small goals and feeling good about them is only going to push you more towards that main goal that you've set. Like
Mhm.
in the future, that should be in the back, waiting for you to pick it out and pull it back as
Yep.
your next small goal. But yeah, small milestones, small goals. Have fun with each one is
Very
probably the
important.
best way to do it.
Very important. Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, so is there anything on this topic of creating content, of what it's done for you in your life that we haven't gotten the opportunity to touch on that you've thought about in just in general in your life or in talking about it now?
Um, I think one of the main things for me is being able to, and it will always come down to this as the main reason I even stream in the first
Yeah.
place. It has allowed me to take care of family and Paige and friends more than I ever could ever, and that's the main thing for me. It's why I try so hard with everything that I do when it comes to streaming and content is because I just want to provide for everyone that I've got in my life that deserves it and that's been there. I want to have that ability to just um give them whatever, give them advice, give them my time, energy, just help them in any way I possibly can. And obviously, streams allow me to do that. I work from home. I'm on full time, and it's just allowed me to, really support and take the time for people in my life now. Um, and that will forever be the main goal for me. As long as I can support the people around me, I'm happy.
Yeah, I watching a lot of content from like massive creators. The thing that has me the most jealous is not in fact like yes, I'm always like, "Oh, you have a billion followers. That's incredible, Mr. Beast. How do you do that?" But the thing that honestly I enjoy most about keep using that example, Mr. Beast to be, as an example is that like the way that he provides for those around him is so intense. It isn't about
Yep.
making money, it isn't about
Mm.
getting followers 90% of the time. It's about how he can continue to provide for those around him in a fun way. Like
Yes.
he pays for mortgages, he pays for everything for those in his, squad. And like,
Yeah.
while yes, that's a squad, but that's his bubble, right? That's
Yeah,
what we
yeah, yeah.
mean by
They're
being
his
able to,
closest, aren't they? Yeah.
right? That's what we mean by being able to take care of those around us. And he just does it to such an extent that I'm jealous that he is able to provide
Yeah.
for other
No,
people
I feel you on that. Yeah.
more than I can possibly right now. I would love to be able to pay my friends rent and mortgage. One day that would
Same.
be
Same.
incredible. Like
Yep.
that's for me the big dream. I can't set that as a milestone. That's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
this month, but that's the thing I'm most jealous of is like the way that these people are able to provide for their friends and family in a way that is inspirational to me.
Yes. Yeah. I feel exactly the same with you on that. I would love to be able to do that for anyone in my life.
Mhm.
Even just one person I would love to be able to do that for. Maybe one day, but yeah. It is
It's
what it is. It's a more of a it's a dream. It's one of them things that if it happens, that's amazing.
yeah, yeah,
If it
exactly.
doesn't, it's still a
The
dream.
inspiration that exists there definitely keeps me going sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
For
yes, of
sure.
course, we'd all love to have a billion followers, and of course, the money that comes with that is like secondary and tertiary to providing the amount of joy that I feel like they do provide. And
Yes. Yeah.
no, you don't need money to be happy, but provide you can provide things for people with it, and that's just a cool thing. That's a cool thing.
Yeah, you could provide stability, and stability is never a bad thing.
No one's ever upset about being stable.
No, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Sweet. Well, I think that this is about time for us to start wrapping things up here on the Pure Joy podcast. It was absolutely lovely having you on.
It was a
Inspiration
pleasure.
to talk about. I mean, there are some joys where like one was cooking, and I do find joy in cooking, so I found inspiration there. I find joy in a lot of these things, or if I don't already, I'm able to glean things about this. But I think this is the one where like if I probably went on, I would probably have done content creation as well. So this was like
Yeah,
really
yeah.
inspirational, even just for me and hopefully other content creators out there who've been listening in. So yeah, I really appreciate you making the time to come out here and be a part of
No,
this.
this has been fun. It's been fun. It's been a while since I've done anything like this, so it's been nice. It's been nice to open up and talk. Obviously, you learn more every month, and I'm more than happy to be an open book and talk about everything that's gone on or what I go through and just how life's been and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you also for being open. That is one of my favorite parts about this is when people are willing to open themselves up about even just the struggles or the problems with their joy.
Mm.
Creates a more cohesive flow, right? We're not just talking about the
Yep.
good things. It's about the hardships too.
Yep. Yep. Exactly.
Cool. Well, again I appreciate you coming on. We're going to close some stuff up here, but I'll reach out to you in a little bit and we'll just chat about how it went.
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds good.
Cool. Cool. Talk to you
Right.
soon.
Talk to you soon, man. Peace.
All right, folks, give me just a second here. Okay, everybody, welcome on back to the solo bit. It was absolutely lovely having Biggie on today to talk about content creation, his journey with that, the challenges with it, and what it's done for his overall life, the wider life in general. It's inspirational, right? We we've had a lot of people that do their thing or have done their thing for many years, and now we have someone who has found lots of success in the thing that he is doing. There's more success down the road, but as a to begin your journey and to look at that, you would say that would be a lovely milestone to hit one day. And it's cool to have someone on who is who's in that place and has the point of view, um from there, to be able to give advice, talk about the struggles, talk about the benefits, of doing it, as a joy in general. And hopefully, along this path and along this conversation, there are things that we can apply to our own lives and our own joys in general. The hard work it takes, learning new things, and applying outside information to overcome an obstacle in our current problem, setting small milestones. That goes for everything, folks. That's a big thing for me, extremely outside of creating content in general. I brought it into content creation. I love small goals. In the early stages, hitting just 25 viewer goals or 25 follower goals, like that was good. And you feel like, boom, I learned something in these 25. I can apply that to the next 25. But also outside of that, just like setting small goals, I want to be up 30 minutes earlier than I was yesterday so that I can wake up and have the right morning. I want to go to bed 30 minutes earlier. Maybe overall, I want to stop going to bed at 1 and go to bed at 10. But if you just try to go to bed at 10, then it's a lot harder. You feel more awake. So if you cut that back from 1 to midnight, boom. Now you're going to bed at midnight. Then a few weeks, you cut that back to 11. Like small goals, and even reaching those small steps can bring joy to you if that is what you want. Eating better, exercising, meditating. There's like any number of things. Putting in a small amount of time can lead, or setting small goals with it can lead to a overall easier acceptance into your lifestyle. Yeah. Yeah. So I hope that you were able to glean joys from this and apply them to things in your life. This was a really good conversation. And again, we want to thank Biggie for coming on out and being a part of this and just joining us in general. I want to also thank Mayonnaise and Murda for allowing me to use their music in the edits of this podcast. You'll find them in the intro, the transitions in between, and as well as the outro leading up to this and afterwards. I really appreciate them. You can find them, Mayonnaise and Murda, on Spotify, on Apple, on SoundCloud. You can find Biggysweats also, while speaking of him, on all of the social media strata that we've been talking about: TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, like all of them. Go find him, go check out his content. He puts a lot of passion and work into it, and you can really see it, and you can feel that while you're there enjoying it. So definitely go check that out. And yeah, I think that is our episode, folks. Let's talk some dates for the following episode. So this episode is going to be out on Christmas. Merry Christmas to you all, and happy holidays if you do not celebrate Christmas. But this will be out on the 25th of December. Our next interview, the date for it is supposed to be January 1st, but I don't know the likelihood of a guest being like wanting to have a good, insightful, full conversation on the first day of the year. Generally, people enjoy to relax that day. We'll see. Probably on that day. Either way, the episode will be out on January 8th, the next episode, 17th episode of the PureJoy podcast. But as for this one, we're drawing it to a close, definitely. And again, thanks to Biggysweats for coming out and joining us on the 16th episode of the PureJoy podcast. And thank you, folks, all for listening in. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining.